Our final honoree tonight is an accomplished writer, best known beyond Aquinas, for an essay about the novels of James Fenimore Cooper. His thesis concluded that Cooper, who penned dozens of novels in the early 1800s, was not bitter about the changing roles of women at that time, as many of his critics believed. Instead, Cooper used the limited and confined roles of women in the novels as a coping mechanism for his own troubles with the changing times. I thought that was an interesting coincidence because tonight we're honoring Chuck Zeitvogel for spending a lifetime giving the young people at Aquinas the means to cope with whatever changes their world would unfurl. He has communicated with Aquinas students through every part of their lives, in the classroom for sure, but in their sports, in their games, their theater, their government, and even through their school media. He writes letters of recommendation by the hundreds to give students a boost. He takes the life experiences he finds all over the world via his work as an online adjunct with the University of Phoenix and puts them on display for Aquinas classes to digest. He has molded Aquinas students from every possible angle. The students themselves will tell you that they have been better prepared to cope with college in particular, but life in general, because of his efforts. Please welcome to the podium for meritorious service, Chuck Zeitvogel, class of 1998.
All right, I didn't fall on the way up the steps, so it's mission one accomplished. Good evening, everyone, family, friends, colleagues, alumni, fellow honorees, friends of Aquinas, and once again, congratulations to all the other honorees. So here we are, last person to go. So I guess I better either be great or brief, be both. Let me start with a couple of thank yous, because if I forget these, I'll be in big trouble. First, where is he? I want to thank Big Daddy Ray Manuzak. I want to thank him for nominating me, and I want to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for approving my nomination. I'm still very overwhelmed and humbled by it. I talk in front of people every day for my job, but I've never been more nervous than I am right now over this. Second, a big thank you to my beautiful wife over there, Christina, for the letter of support. She wrote the letter of support for the committee and for supporting me throughout my entire teaching career. Even though the amount of time I spend at Aquinas with all the different hats I've worn over the years can be frustrating, I know that she and our two daughters understand the level of commitment necessary for me to do my job to the best of my ability. It's not the easiest way for them, I know. So thank you for the years of support, even times like the last week in May this year, when I spent the night at Aquinas both Thursday and Friday night for the senior lock-in for 24 hours of theater. I know that was difficult for her, so thank you for that. I have a few more thank yous, but I'll get to those as they come up. The program says I'm being inducted for meritorious service to Aquinas. I looked up the definition of meritorious yesterday. According to the Google, meritorious means deserving praise, reward, or esteem. Praiseworthy. I don't know about that, but I guess I'll take it. For me, teaching and working in my alma mater has always been about seeing a need and filling a need. Coaching, moderating, helping with plays, chaperoning, the types of things I remember the teachers doing when I was a student at Aquinas. To be honest, I never thought I would ever become a teacher. When I was a student, one of my first memories at AQ was my freshman English teacher telling us, "Hey, don't be surprised if someday you end up back here teaching." I remember snorting with derision and thinking, "Yeah, right. Who in their right mind would ever come back here to teach?" And here I am, 34 years later. I don't know where Rene Montenegro is now, but he was right. And I will gladly eat some crow if I ever see him. Because 20 plus years of teaching has shown me that for my very first students in the class of 98, there was a bunch of them here somewhere, through now, that I truly do have the best job in the world. Sorry that you don't, because you're not in the classroom every day kids. People ask me, how do you do it? How do you deal with teenagers every day? And I look them in the eye and I say, where else could I find such wonderful company? I just met Jake for the first time on a senior retreat. What an awesome young man he is. And there's so many more that walk the halls of Aquinas. I get to share experiences with them in the classroom, on the tennis court, on the stage, senior retreats, student council. But more importantly, I get to help them grow into the adults that they will become. Here, I need to thank Big Daddy again, so 2 shout-outs, right? He gave me the best advice I ever got in my first year teaching. And it was really early in that year. And he said, you're their teacher. It's okay to be their friend. You just can't be their buddy. And he said, make sure you'll learn the difference. And he was right. That advice became the basis for my whole teaching style. I realized very early in that first year that it's okay to let my guard down, shed the armor, and let students know that I'm not perfect. As Dad said, I share the good, the bad, and the ugly with them through stories and anecdotes. I try to talk to them, not at them. I found that it's the best way to earn their respect, and I try to share that same advice with younger teachers as they get hired at Aquinas. While much of my job is to help students improve their writing skills, show them how to analyze literature, and relate it to their own lives, as well as to think critically. Ultimately, the most important part of my job is to be who I needed when I was younger. To be a person who models goodness, discipline, and knowledge, and to model it in that order. The payoff, other than this tremendous honor, has been all the great experiences I've had at or because of Aquinas. Winning sectional and state titles with the hockey team, coaching some individual tennis players to sectional titles, performing in and helping direct musicals, going on overnight senior retreats, chaperoning dances and formals, co-moderating the student council with Scott Wise over there. Together, we get to help students become leaders. Working with Bill Marche and Chris Grout to build better rapport between students and adults in the building. And most recently, bringing 24 hours of theater one-act play festival to Aquinas. These are all experiences I will always cherish. Shared teaching can be challenging at times, but the rewards heavily outweigh the challenges. I get to be around wonderful students. I get to work with some of my former classmates, teachers, and students, as well as many other outstanding teachers. I thank them for their friendship and support. I also want to say thank you to Anita Tortorella, my senior English teacher, who made literature come alive for me, who taught me there are great books that were not written by J.R.R. Tolkien. And I want to thank my next-door neighbor growing up, Sam Onyebane, an alumnus of the class of 1959. Mr. O is a retired teacher and administrator from the city school district. He was a role model for me while I was growing up. He taught me what it means to live with humility, to live a Christian life. 2 lessons that have helped me in the classroom. In closing, I want to say a last thank you to the old Ivy Circle crew. Thank you to the older guys from the neighborhood for choosing to blaze the trail to 1127 Dewey Avenue and making Aquinas the only real choice for the kids on our street. Thank you to the neighbors I went to school with for making my high school experience so great. Lastly, and most importantly, thank you to my mother and father, for making the sacrifices to send me to Aquinas. Without all of you, I wouldn't be here today, and I wouldn't be getting inducted into the Aquinas Hall of Fame. Thank you.